Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back. Recently, some people are talking about how they're receiving a large percentage of their total crypto assets by leveraging the Flux project. Some of the OGs in the project since the beginning could potentially receive 100% of their total assets, meaning they're going to double their position by simply holding Flux. So today I'm going to help you understand how that works and mention a few things you need to pay attention to if you plan to do this, because if you don't time it right, you may miss this opportunity. So the way people are achieving this is by claiming parallel assets on the Flux network. I'll explain what that is in a second. But before we do that, we're going to explain what Flux is, what's the utility, and how you can get it. So Flux is both a coin and a layer 2 token on multiple blockchains. It has a max supply of 440 million. I will explain how that splits between Flux tokens and Flux coins later on. So Flux provides a decentralized Web3 computational network. You can see how much CPU, RAM, and storage it provides at the moment. So right now, for projects to utilize the Flux network, they will have to Dockerize their apps and then they can deploy on the Flux network. There's a cost calculator, and the way you deploy is just clicking to deploy and then go through the process. And they even provide a guide to teach you how to deploy the apps on the Flux network on different operating systems. So in order to pay for the service, right now you have to have some Flux, but they are working with Stripe, so people can just pay with credit cards. And when you spin up an app, automatically you will have at least 3 instances to increase the redundancy. And let's say if you just want something that has 2 cores and 8 gigabytes of RAM and 200 gigabytes of SSD, right now is under $5 per month. And if you're familiar with other major cloud providers, you know this price is about 1/10 of what those providers are charging. And of course, Flux is still a project in progress. They are moving very fast though. So far in 2022, they have been hitting milestones, delivering features ahead of schedule. And here are some of the projects that's deployed on Flux right now. You can deploy different nodes like pre-search, KDA nodes. You can even deploy Ethereum Light nodes. Of course, you can host game servers. And recently, the Mirror protocol actually decided to use Flux Network too. Flux is definitely getting a lot of traction from both Web 2 projects and Web 3 projects. Another utility of Flux is serves as the governance token for XDAO. So as Flux project gets more mature, the community will gain more governance to the project itself, where people can vote for different features, proposals, if they hold Flux tokens or coins. So there are a few major ways you can earn Flux too. The number one way is GPU mining. And we can take a look at some of the pools that support Flux. Here are the major ones, and some people are also solo mining Flux too. And that's what I'm doing at the moment. It's actually surprisingly profitable, especially to have some of the NVIDIA 2000 cards. So the good thing about Flux mining is that it's completely ASIC resistant. If they find out there's ASIC miners on the network, they'll fork. And for cards like 2080 Ti, 2070 Supers, because of all these parallel assets you will receive, it's actually more profitable for you to mine Flux than mining Ethereum or Ethereum Classic right now. Another great thing about Flux mining is that Flux had no pre-sale, no pre-mine, no VCs. Everything was mined from the beginning, the Genesis block. Back then, it was actually called Zcash, but then they rebranded it into Flux. We'll talk about that more later. And the reason I think no VCs is really important, and that's because these days, when VCs get into crypto projects, they want a pre-sale so they can buy these tokens at extreme low price. And not only that, they want the project to set aside a pool of tokens. So if anything happens, these VCs can exit without any loss. And then all the burden will be dropped onto the community. So personally, after mining Flux for a while, and at the same time, I also mine Ethereum, I think the downside is that Flux does run on a very warm algorithm, meaning it's gonna draw more wattage. And as summer is coming up, it's getting hotter and hotter. So if you don't have a good cooling system, it may not be a good option for you. And also at the same time, if you have AMD cards or some NVIDIA cards that's optimized in GRAM, such as the A5000, 6000 cards that designed for AI ML, it's actually more profitable to mine Ethereum than mining Flux with those cards. But the good news is that that's not the only way you can receive Flux. The next way is by running nodes. Flux nodes is the backbone for a Flux network. It provides all the computational resources you're seeing over here. Currently, there are 3 tiers of nodes. Each tier has its own minimum requirement. coins. And they also have some new tiers coming up. So when a block of rewards is mined by GPU miners, half of that rewards will go to the GPU miners and the other half will go to these nodes. In order to host these nodes, you do have to provide collateral. And this is to prevent malicious actors from spinning up a bunch of nodes and breach the integrity of the network. So a good thing about these collateral is that you can unlock at any time and you can withdraw at any time. But if you withdraw, you will also lose your node too. And for the node rewards every month, based on the current Flux price, you will receive about $30 for Cumulus node, less than $300 for Nimbus node, and less than $700 for Stratus node. For every single Flux, you actually earn more by running as a Cumulus node. However, that being said, you also have to provide a lot more computational resource. So that's also a downside, right? One of the good things about running nodes is that it's less power hungry. Let's say if you have money to buy graphic cards, especially the 3000 series, you can really just buy Flux and use that as a collateral and host Flux nodes. You're going to have to buy the motherboard, you're going to have to buy the storage, RAM, CPU anyway. Just like you're building a GPU mining rig, you're definitely not going to generate as much heat, I'll tell you that. So the big downside, I would say, it's also the same for a lot of Web3 projects. We're currently very limited by the layer 0 infrastructure, which is the internet itself, either cable or fiber. Even in the US, a lot of places don't have great internet. And some people are also limited by the upload speed. And the other day, I was just talking to somebody in the Discord. They're talking about they get over 600 megabits per second download speed, but for upload, they only get 35. And for each Cumulus node, you will need 25 megabits per second. And for any Web3 projects, no hosting and all that, upload speed is always important because your upload speed is other people, which are the people who are using your infrastructure, that's their download speed. Another downside of running nodes is it's kind of technical. And if that's not who you are or who you want to be, it may not be a good idea. Because running Flux node is different from running any other nodes. It's more like running your own data center, your own cloud service at home. And that means you are the administrator. You have to do maintenance. You have to troubleshoot. You have to design the network. You have to know cybersecurity. Even though there are a good amount of guides out there, I personally have made guide by myself. Flux official Discord and YouTube channel also has a good amount of guides. To some people, it may still be very overwhelming. And if that's you, gladly, you can also buy Flux straight from exchange. These are the exchange that currently has most of the volume. You can also swap Flux on some of the DX, decentralized exchanges. And if you plan to get assets from these exchanges and hold it in your Zelcore wallet, you have to transfer it from the exchange to your Zelcore wallet. You have to pay attention because to receive parallel assets, there's a snapshot. Some exchanges, they will stop people from withdrawing a couple of days or maybe even 3-4 days before the snapshot happens because the exchange itself want to receive parallel assets too. However, most exchanges don't give you the parallel assets. And two, if you're just new to this exchange, you probably need time to KYC. You also need time to clear the assets if you're buying with credit card, debit card, or ACH. And sometimes that process takes 7 to 10 days. So in order to time that, you really have to buy your assets and transfer that into your Zelcore wallet way before the snapshot. And then after the snapshot, you can do whatever to the asset. So yeah, obviously the next major way to receive Flux is by claiming parallel assets. And that's the airdrop people are talking about. But before we talk about what parallel asset is, I want to thank the sponsor of this video, Crypto.com. This is by far my favorite exchange because if you want to swap one asset to another, for example, you want to sell Bitcoin and buy Ethereum or sell Ethereum to USDT or USDC and buy Dogecoin, there's no transaction fee. They also started supporting NFTs recently. There's a bunch of new projects up here. At the same time, they also offer the best crypto Visa card out there. It will earn you up to 8% cash back. I personally have the 3rd tier card. I linked it to my Apple Pay. I got free Netflix and Spotify. Every time I pay, I get 3% cash back. At the same time, I also enjoy higher staking rewards on Crypto.com. I also get access to airport lounges. So if you're interested, definitely check it out. You can sign up by using my referral code Crypto.com/app/modotech. I will have that link in the description below. Okay, let's talk about the parallel assets. So Flux was actually called Zelcash back in 2018. Back in 2021, they rebranded it into Flux. Flux has 440 million max supply, 220 million is generated by GPU mining, and the other 220 million is in parallel assets on 10 different blockchains. If we go to their GitHub and we go into their repositories, and that's the contract on Ethereum and BSC, you also see Flux on Tron, Flux on KDA. So there's a guy called Cryptocom, I think I pronounced that correctly. He's on the Flux official PR and marketing team. Here is a dashboard he made, and we'll take a look here, deep dive. So the 220 million parallel assets are spread evenly on 10 different chains, and that means each one of them will be taking 10% of that. And because parallel assets, it's 50% of the total Flux assets, that means each of these assets is about 5% of the entire Flux supply. For the very first drop, which is KDA, you can see it's 10%, and some people may be confused. They say, why are we getting less every single time we get a new airdrop? As we're getting more drops on the network, and we're taking a snapshot of all these assets that were dropped previously. So the total amount is actually the same. Percentage-wise, this number will go down. So you're not really missing out anything here. So the next airdrop snapshot is on May 5th, but then the claiming date is not yet announced. You can see previously for Solana and Tron, it was 2 months after the snapshot, but for BSC, Ethereum, Cardano, it's almost the same month. So if you decide you don't want to participate in Terra or Avalanche, or if you already missed by the time you found this video, in the future, there's still 3 airdrop. I believe they're looking at Polygon, Cosmos, and also ADA. So then what happens is you will have to go to Fusion, and then you will have to claim different assets by going to parallel mining claim or snapshot claim. So once you claim the assets, you'll be able to see different tokens on different chains. So once you have claimed these assets, you can go ahead and provide liquidity on other different chains by pairing them up with other tokens. And it's really up to you on what price you want to set it to. And then you will be receiving fees for facilitating these different transactions. All right, guys, so that's all for today. I hope that helped you understand what parallel asset is. If you got more questions, definitely join our Discord and join Flux official Discord. It's a great community. Also, don't forget to subscribe and like our videos. This is Mototech. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time.